Hello, everyone, and welcome to my second lesson for the year on how to get started as a voice actor. 2 weeks ago, I had you practice a bunch of voices from every genre of voiceover, and if you've been doing it right, you've been practicing every day to be able to nail down some fun genres you might like to get into. If not, then start doing it every day. In the car, in the shower, or as you exercise, and do it to the TV or radio when you hear a voice or commercial come on. You probably even downloaded the voice acting calendar that's free to be able to follow along with these videos to help you stay on track to get started in voice acting this year. If not, be sure to go to my previous video to be able to get the free calendar so that way you can stay on track to becoming a voice actor this year. This time we are going to be talking about the importance of voice acting classes. That's right, actual voice acting classes. Last time, I told you to start saving up your money, and this is for a very important reason. Not only is equipment important, but I want you to start looking for voice acting classes to take. And not just any voice acting classes, I want you to try to find in-person classes in your local area. But don't tune out just yet. I want you to be able to see what resources I have for you in this video as we go along. That way you can decide which ones are good for you. First up, I want to get into why taking a voice acting class is so important. Why would I need one, you say? First off, it's going to introduce you to the world of voiceover. You'll get to see and meet the people who are in the industry, and you'll get a feel for what the community is like. And you'll also get to see the industry in action. This is why I highly recommend in-person classes, because you won't get the same grasp of the community by watching an online class as you will in person. Furthermore, you won't get to know anybody in the industry in person if you just watch videos on how to do it online. And yes, that includes even mine. So get to an in-person class because there you'll also get the option to ask questions long after a Zoom meeting has ended. And then you can get to know professional voice actors personally. But Tategami, that's all fine and good, but why should I go in person anyway if I can just do it on my own without meeting anybody? Well, I am so glad you asked. It's because voice acting by nature is networking. And you can't build a good voice acting career if you do not network. Networking is the circulatory system of voice acting and allows you to be able to meet people in person and lets them get to know you and what you can do. You'll also get to meet the other students who are at the same level that you are. You can then practice together and share tips and tricks you've learned as you progress. You may even get lucky if you are personable enough and get private free lessons from a vocal coach. And that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? On top of that, in-person classes allow you to be able to physically walk into a professional booth and voice act in front of a bunch of people. This is crucial because many voice acting jobs will be done as a performance in front of a bunch of people, writing on notepads and critiquing what you're doing. These people are called script writers, directors, and producers, by the way, not to mention fellow voice actors. So it's important to get comfortable with performing in front of others. It is awkward, it is strange, and it is going to kill your confidence in a recording booth if you do not have this skill. Voice acting in its purest form is embodying emotion and portraying it in a believable way. If you lack confidence or if you're nervous, then guess what? People will hear that in your performance. You can't fake it, unfortunately. You cannot be confident if you are lacking confidence, and the only way to get it is to do it. So, you need to get used to performing in front of others so that you can understand how to control those nerves and do it repetitively if you can. The other important facet of taking voice acting classes in person is you'll actually get to see the equipment you'll be working with and handle it yourself. They can show you how it works and what you need to do if you're there to ask them in person. And, most importantly, you'll be getting feedback on your voice and performance in real time with your own voice. Meaning you'll be getting a coach to direct you without garbled Zoom noise. It's just like what would happen at a real job, except you'll be getting the benefit of people speaking nice to you and encouraging you to do well, rather than having a client who is frustrated and mad at you when you mess up. And trust me, I mean it when I say when you mess up, not if, when. So it's much better to mess up in a realistic scenario or a simulated one rather than messing up in the actual scenario when it counts, because it can cost you your future with that client and it can cost you money. So you don't want to do that. So, if you have the option, attend in person when you can. If you don't have another choice, then online is best. You may luck out, though, and find some local college classes in your area. However, they are difficult to find, and I couldn't even find any at my local community colleges in my local area. So, if you do go for these, just remember that some local colleges don't have them, and when they do, if you don't have enough money, you can always audit a class if you ask a professor nicely. They might just let you do it. So keep that in mind as you're hunting for voice acting classes out there. Now, if you can't find one in your local area, I still have something that may work for you. If you're ever in Las Vegas, Los Angeles, California, New York, or Austin, Texas this year, you may be able to book some classes out ahead of time and get to them locally when you visit. These tend to be some pretty solid places to be able to get some voice acting classes just due to the sheer size of the cities and who they cater to. Now, personally, the one that I prefer is the Voice Actors Studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. Save a couple $100 and book their introductory course when you get a chance, and try to plan your trip around it. Feel free to send them an email to see when the in-person portion of the class is, because I know it's a 4-week-long course, but I just want you to get the hands-on experience when you go. That way, if you have to do the class online for 3 weeks or 2 weeks, it's totally fine. You can still do that even if you don't make it in person, but I want you to be able to get the most out of it. Their facility is right off of Viking Road, but you can also take their online classes if you need to. I personally have attended at least 6 different schools for voice, and by far the Voice Actors Studio is the best in terms of quality and bang for your buck. Why? It's in person. They have voice actors from every genre you could imagine teaching in their own specialties, and it's owned by probably the most prolific voice actress in Las Vegas, Melissa Moats. She is the voice in almost half the stores in Las Vegas. They even have monthly contests for their students so that they can get free demo reels done by professionals if you happen to win one. You heard me right. Free demo reels. So there's no reason not to do it. When I went there, they personally let me try out every mic and audio setup they had, and the community was so amazing and helpful that I really miss being able to go there on a weekly basis. They even have a in-person improv class, which is a necessity if you are going into voiceover. Take at least 1 or 2 improv classes if you're going to do it, because they will help you to know how to maneuver during an ad-lib part of a script. Now, they aren't paying me to say any of this. They do not sponsor me at all. I just know that they had the best quality of voice acting academy I ever took. So plan a class or 2 there if you can in person. If not, they do have online classes that fill quickly, so reserve your spot and do your utmost to attend. Even then, I would still highly recommend in-person classes, because it is worth the effort and the money, and it's worth 5 times more than the cost just by being in there in person. So definitely try to do that when you can. The other schools that are online that I want to mention are Gravy for the Brain and Blum Vox Academy. If you are in the UK, Gravy for the Brain is your one-stop shop for all voiceover needs. They taught it immensely well and cover everything. And the equipment they use is completely different than in the US, so I would recommend going to them for all your audio equipment and voiceover needs if you live in Eurasia. Now, the next one is quite special. If any of you watched Cowboy Bebop or played Call of Duty Mobile, then you know this guy, you love him. His name is Steve Blum, the voice of Spike Spiegel. He's a very well-known voice actor, and he has his own voice academy online. I took his voice acting academy about 5 years ago, and it's only grown since. Back then, it covered the basics, but I'm sure it covers more now. The content was fairly solid, and you even get a community to chat with to boot. Now, the last class I would say is an absolute necessity in voiceover is a basic singing class. Why? Because singing requires a lot of voice control and knowing how to breathe correctly. They teach you how to maintain your voice and how to prevent damage to your voice. The information is well worth the amount and it pays in dividends. Trust me. If you have to go a cheap route and you can't get an in-person singing coach, I would highly recommend Roger Love's online voice class. He has ones for storytelling, communication, and singing, and they all mesh really well with voice acting. And they were all well worth the money that I spent. So don't be afraid to go in person and do these classes if you can, but just know that online classes also have their value too. If you're afraid to go and do one of these classes in person, let me tell you, it was so much more fun than sitting in a college class and people joke around and have fun interactions and you get to make friends. So it's so worth the effort to be able to just go and show up and do it. Save up what you can and find the good ones to go and take. Most classes are a couple $100, so be aware that each class will be pricey, but once again, if you go to the voice actor's studio and do it in person, you will be getting 5 times the worth out of one class if you participate and receive feedback. You'll also be getting on-job experience in a practice setting, so it's amazing. Definitely do it. So with that said, your homework for this week is to find classes that you want to take and save up for them, so that by May, you can firmly decide where you want to be and where you want to take your voice acting career from there. And pick 3 new genres to practice and 2 to hone this week as well. If you can book introductory classes this month, then that's awesome. You'll be even further ahead than anyone else watching these videos. But I want you to try booking some classes for next month at a bare minimum. If you can only book one, that's fine. Just try to save up and afford more classes all the way up until May if you can, and then take more classes throughout the year as you see fit. You need to be learning, and you need to be practicing as you go. If you don't use it, you will lose it, and that's just kind of how it goes with anything, so keep building the skills so they don't decay. If you truly don't have a whole lot of money, then I would recommend picking Gravy for the Brain because it will have pretty much anything and everything that you want, and they even have a subscription package. So you can just focus on those classes if you don't have a whole lot of funds and just binge it for a month. That, and I will not suggest that you screen record the content for later if you don't have the time. But I will suggest that you use a download video button if they make it available to you in case your subscription runs out. You could probably even ask voice actors in voice acting chat groups like VAC or Discord or Reddit if they have resources too if you cannot afford a class. There's a lot of voice actors who like helping other new voice actors out. Or you could even visit my Patreon for $15 a month, where I have more specified deep dives of genres I was trained in. That way you don't have to spend $100 for a single class. Hint, hint. Which I should be able to populate more now that I have more downtime for YouTube videos. So just know they aren't as flashy as my YouTube ones due to time and editing, but hey, it's amazing info for crazy cheap, so definitely go check it out. Well, with that said, once again, the homework is to find some voice acting classes and to pick 3 or more genres to practice from the list from last week. Pick 2 that you have been practicing and focus on honing them. By the end of the month, you should have 3 or more genres that you want to work on for next month. And by the way, be sure to ask friends or family if they like the voices you are doing. You may be surprised at what genres fit your voice the best. Thanks for following along, and don't forget to subscribe and turn your notifications on so that you can stay notified when my new videos drop. That way you can stay on track with my lessons and become a voice actor within a year. Send it all your friends and family too, who may also want to start voice acting this year too. That way you have some friends to join in. Alrighty, thanks again, and I will see you in February. Thanks for watching. If you want to continue to join me on my voice acting journey, then don't forget to subscribe to me on YouTube or join my Patreon for more videos where you can hear practice reads, blooper reels, or even my experiences of getting into voice acting. Who knows, maybe you can even join this disabled guy on his journey. Thanks again, and as always, stay safe out there.